Welcome to Bold Voices, a production of the Community Foundation of Broward, where we explore Broward's biggest issues, get to know some of the people and organizations creating a bold impact in our community, and take a deeper dive into the world of local philanthropy with the experts at the Community Foundation of Broward. And now it's time to be bold.
Thank you for joining us on Bold Voices today, a production of the Community Foundation of Broward. I'm your host, Ellen Jaffe, and if you think of the Community Foundation of Broward as a human body, today's guest would be not just the brain, not just the heart, not just the soul, but all of that and the lifeblood of the foundation. I am delighted to welcome the president and CEO of the Community Foundation of Broward, Jennifer O'Flannery Anderson. It's so good to see you.
Hi, Ellen. It's so nice to be with you.
I've got to tell you, since I've been hosting Bold Voices, I've had the chance to speak with board members, community builders, people who have funds here at the Community Foundation, as well as leaders of a number of the nonprofits that have benefited from your grants, your leadership, endowments, and the training. So each one, to a T, has spoken about the positive impacts that they have experienced and the people they serve have experienced because of their work with the foundation. So congratulations to you and your staff.
That makes my heart happy. And it's the team here for sure.
Yeah.
They're the best.
And that's the way people talk about them. And I always say it starts at the top. So you as the leader are definitely having a major impact. And it's now 3 years since you have been boldly leading the foundation.
Yes, and I got to follow the footsteps of Linda Carter, who set such a wonderful example and has continued to be a great friend and advisor. So I feel fortunate to have that.
Well, combined, I'm stuck in these Star Trek analogies right now. I feel like the foundation has gone from the original Star Trek to the next generation, and then we'll be heading into deep space with all of the changes that you've brought and having a nonprofit center for excellence and the whole concept of Be Bold. Can you tell us how that started?
So that started a little bit before I got here, and it was really an intentional effort on the board of directors to shift the organization to really proactively going out in the community and engaging donors in becoming a part of the Community Foundation, but more importantly, being strategic and effective with their giving. And I think we really feel strongly that the Community Foundation is here to help people be great philanthropists and to elevate the world of giving across our community. So that's our North Star. And I think this Be Bold campaign gave the Community Foundation a reason to go out and engage people and talk to them and promote the Community Foundation and all of the abilities that we have to help people be great philanthropists and to make sure their giving is as impactful as possible. So I think that's where the impetus came from. And it was setting a goal. What would it take for this Community Foundation to be really relevant and to ensure there are funds that will really have a positive impact on the nonprofits and on the quality of life in Broward? So that's where the goal of $500 million came, and working towards how do we get people to think about putting the Community Foundation in their estate plans. And the new shift was how do we get people to think about giving now and using the team's skills and abilities to help them in their giving now. So it was a nice shift, and I'm really proud to say that we just celebrated reaching $350 million.
Wow.
And I never thought we could say that here, and I'm so proud to say that we've reached $350 million and we're still going. So
congratulations.
We'll celebrate the wrap-up of it a year from now as we celebrate the culmination of our 40th anniversary of being in existence. So it should be a big celebration.
And it will be. And I've seen the difference in the community. I see your name, the Community Foundation of Broward, everywhere when I open anything that has to do with nonprofits, nonprofit events, fundraisers. Community Foundation is always there as a supporter. And I know you have specific areas that you've chosen to focus on. And I think that also goes toward really making the most impact with the funds. Can you talk about those 5 or 6 areas?
Sure. And this again builds on the tradition that the Community Foundation started probably about almost 10 years ago, focusing on issues that matter. So we have 6 areas of focus that we try to utilize the grants that we give out each year or every few years. And those areas are education, youth enrichment, social and economic mobility, healthy and thriving families, art and culture, racial equity, diversity and inclusion, and finally, what we've already been talking about, building a strong nonprofit community. What I think is interesting is when we look at healthy and thriving communities, there we're looking at health, at the emerging issue of mental health, and also of the environment and sustainability. All 3 of those have really significant and particular relevance to our friends and neighbors and family here in Broward. So I think these 6 areas fit together well, and they're broad enough that they give us flexibility, but they are also impactful on daily life.
How does that impact when people come to you and they're interested in becoming a community builder or having a fund that's dedicated to a particular area? Are you finding that people are more interested because they can focus on what matters to them?
So what's really good is as we've developed these areas, our staff is developing an expertise in them. So we divide the 6 priority areas around about 4 different staff. So they're each developing some subject matter knowledge and expertise. So as we talk with our fund holders and prospective fund holders, we're able to introduce them to the team, share some of the initiatives that we've funded, share some of our big ideas, and get their input on what things matter to them. One of the areas we've had some very fun and interesting success with is our fund holders who are interested in having their dollars have a greater impact. So they may say, I'm going to set aside $50,000 for an environmental education program. Are there other fund holders at the Community Foundation who might like to also join me? So we've had a lot of success in building some matching gift initiatives just from our own Community Foundation of Broward families. And one of our fund holders does that at the holidays. Their family picks 3 organizations to contribute to and asks our fund holders to match that. So just a little extra thinking and time, it has a nice impact. So I think that the focus areas give us enough flexibility, and they can help our fund holders direct their giving to something broad like education and youth enrichment, or they can be more specific in terms of Big Brothers Big Sisters, Boys and Girls Club, the Crockett Foundation. I think Henry is one of our podcasts. If you guys haven't met him yet, you should. And Pace Center for Girls, I know that's another podcast. So as a fund holder here, you can be as specific if you know the organizations that matter to you, or you can be part of our effort to learn more about new organizations, about existing ones, and how you want to direct your funds in that regard.
And one of the most important things that people who are fund holders or community builders, which is a certain level of giving, talk about is they feel comfortable that you will handle the money responsibly. And that has shown from the growth in these funds. I remember hearing about Lawrence Sanders, the author, who started a fund, and after he passed, he became a community builder because it grew so much.
Yes. And his fund is for creative writing. He was an author. So we have a wonderful dedicated fund to creative writing programs for kids in school throughout Broward County. What a wonderful legacy.
Exactly. Now, you talk about one person who likes to do giving at the holidays, and people tend to think about it more this time of year. There's no question.
Correct.
But there are also benefits in terms of tax deductions and that sort of thing. So can you talk about why giving at this time of year is so important?
Well, it's because as we're wrapping up our year and you're putting together your end of year statistics for the accountants and putting together your paperwork, that's when you have one last chance to perhaps meet with one of your advisors and say, all right, am I maximizing things? So I think the combination of the spirit of the holidays, of thinking of others, and then the practical perspective of end of year tax implications, I think that those two factors equally help drive a little extra giving at the end of the year. I'm going to hope our community weights more on the giving to others and the tax benefits are a secondary. So we'll just leave it at that.
Agreed. And then is there not a follow through? Because with more giving now, you can move into the next year with more grants to nonprofits.
Exactly. That's a big plus, is that helps us know where we stand for the spring and also then going into the fall. And, on that subject, one of the things we're trying to do as an organization that supports all different nonprofits of different sizes is to build more of our efforts in trust-based philanthropy. So to be less constrictive in our funding and to give grants for larger amounts and or for longer periods of time. So if we can grant to an organization for 3 years, they know those funds are coming in, and we know that organization and we trust that they'll do a good job with it. And that's good for both sides. So I'm really proud that we're able to do that. And we have so many organizations that we trust and we know will be good stewards. And then we have our nonprofit center that's helping to build the next generation of those organizations and get them ready.
And this is such a wonderful addition to the Community Foundation of Broward. And I remember when it was just something you were talking about. And next thing you know, Kathy Brown is here, and we had her on the podcast. And now there are classes and meetings and nonprofits. Exactly. Henry Crockett, who you mentioned, talked about how he was taken by the hand and taught how to apply for a grant and how to bring the nonprofit to a new level to make a greater impact in the community. Mm-hmm. And this has to be happening to more than just one organization.
Right. And what's so interesting is this concept came out of our strategic planning process, which happened in early 2021, right after I started, still very in the middle of COVID. And when we ask business leaders, nonprofit leaders, government leaders, our fund holders, community leaders, our legacy society members, what's the number one, what's the most important thing you think the Community Foundation should be focused on? So no matter who we ask, 100% the answer was supporting and building a more efficient and effective nonprofit community. Wow. That they realized because of COVID how much pressure was put on nonprofits to deliver services, the stress on the staff, the stress on their budgets and operations, the fact that we have so many small nonprofits with smaller budgets and that they just didn't have the depth and strength to be as resilient through the COVID situation. So we realized that that was an area for us to really dive deep. So it's just interesting that in COVID, that came out as the most important thing for us to work on. So far it's proving to be really beneficial to the organizations that we're serving, to the grants that we're putting together. And I think as we intended to really elevate the whole nonprofit community. So it's just the beginning, a lot more to come.
Oh, I am so sure. I know there are people who go through a difficult period and the first thing they want to do is start a nonprofit for that cause. And the Nonprofit Center for Excellence seems like the first place you should call to get the training you need, because there is so much to running a nonprofit. Just filling out the IRS forms is difficult if you've never done it before.
So my best advice on that is please wait. Please see if you could find an organization to partner with. We have, I think, over 9,000 nonprofits. So my best advice on this is to find a partner to do it with instead of maybe going out and starting your own. One of the big challenges I've seen across the board, across my whole career, is when a nonprofit goes from its founder to the next generation. That's really hard. So I think if someone who has a cause that's important to them could partner with another organization to just first test out the concept and the sustainability of it, and then take the next step. But definitely we're here to help. I think what we're really trying to do is build stronger, more resilient nonprofits that have diverse budgets, that have revenue from different sources, just like business people.
Exactly. Well, it is a business.
It is.
And I think what some people may not understand is that, yes, it is a business. And yes, there are people who get paid to work there, because you can't expect people to work 40 hours a week for free. But by being nonprofit, all the profits just go right back in. Right.
You're exactly right.
So that's something that I think really helps for people to understand about it. And for someone who just feels, wow, this is really exciting, and I want to be part of this nonprofit community. I hear these people talking. They sound so interesting and so passionate. And one of the things they all talk about is how rewarding it is. They don't even want to take credit for what they're doing. They feel that the best thing they get out of it is the joy of seeing someone benefit from what they're doing. So where does someone start with the Community Foundation of Broward in starting a fund and becoming a community builder?
Well, you can just call me anytime, any place, anywhere. But we have a team of people who will help you start a fund. What's a common philanthropy tool is a donor-advised fund. So that's where you set up a fund, and the earnings from that fund, you have the ability to advise the Community Foundation on how you'd like those funds granted out. So it's kind of like a checkbook for giving.
Interesting.
So you write one check to the Community Foundation, and then over time you can give guidance to the Community Foundation on how you'd like those funds granted out. Most of our fund holders here at the Community Foundation, and what we try to focus on, is building an endowment. So we really encourage people to give a fund, set up a fund, at least $50,000, and then the earnings from that fund are what get granted out. And so you can decide each year how you'd like to give those dollars out with advice from the Community Foundation team. And then you can also have your family be involved in that giving. And then once your estate happens many, many, many years from now, then you can give the Community Foundation guidance on how you'd like those funds to go. If you'd like them directed to a specific organization or perhaps a cause like cancer research, or you say, you know what, 100 years from now, I have no idea what's going to be needed.
Right.
I better let the Community Foundation decide how to spend the funds. So you can always do a little mix of that. I think those are the funds that are the most interesting, is when someone's put so much thought into what they want their legacy to be. And so it's a little bit of organizations they loved in their life, issues that matter to their family, and knowing and trusting the Community Foundation to take care of some of it as well.
Well, just hearing you say 100 years from now,
right,
it just made my heart do a little flip, because we don't normally think in terms of that far ahead in giving, knowing that the Community Foundation of Broward will be here and that you can continue impacting not just 100 years from now, but forever, in perpetuity. That's one of my new favorite phrases. Yep. In perpetuity is really exciting, and that you can say exactly where you want your money to go. And again, you can choose a broad area or you can choose a specific organization. And I would guess that you help guide people to make sure the organization is vetted,
yes,
and will do the most with the money that goes to them.
And if that organization happened to not exist 400 years from now, the Community Foundation still knows what mattered to you, and our goal is to continue to uphold that intent.
Okay. What would you say to someone who doesn't have a fund yet to encourage them to, before the end of this year, come in and talk to someone at the Community Foundation of Broward? At the minimum, go to your website, cfbroward.org, and learn about a fund and philanthropy and giving.
I would say to think about, what do you want your legacy to be? What are you proud of in your life? What do you want to be remembered for? And how do you start doing that now? You don't want that to just fall into place once you're not with us anymore. You want to be working on that now, just as if you're exercising or learning a new hobby. So consider this a new chapter for 2024, but you should, if you're fiscally strategic, you should be thinking about this at the end of 2023. So thinking about, in 2024, how can you add giving and volunteering and serving our community into your repertoire of your daily life? And part of that is setting up a fund at the Community Foundation, engaging some of our educational events. We love to do visits to different nonprofits. We have lunch and learns. And as I mentioned earlier, we have several of these opportunities where our fund holders do matching gift programs, so you could be part of a greater initiative. So I think it's time to not put it off, and it's time to think about what you want to be known for and how you can get going on that today. And I think that's a perfect thing to commemorate the holidays.
And, I would add to that it's even more than what you want to be known for. It's as much about what you will feel good about.
Yeah.
What will give you a reason to do what you do, and a feeling that you've had an impact in your life and you've done something worthwhile and you're doing something worthwhile now. All of the people from the nonprofits have stories about young people or someone who was sick or someone who was impacted and how they came back and said, thank you. And now it makes me want to cry when I talk about this. So you must have a lot of crying days here.
We do, in very, very special ways. I mean, just last week, we had the Singing Sons choir come to sing for one of our gatherings. And those young men are just amazing. And the professionalism and polish that they take to learning the skills of classical singing and how it's infusing into their whole youth. I mean, the way they were dressed, the way they interacted with each other. I mean, they were just absolutely charming. And what an impact the director of that program is having on those young men and thinking about their friends, how it's emanating out. So just getting to see different groups in action, it's very inspiring. So I think that's a great reason to be a part of the Community Foundation.
And it also speaks to me that now this generation that's being impacted, they're going to grow up and understand how philanthropy helped them, and they're going to want to give back. So not only are you raising good citizens, you're raising our future leaders and our future philanthropists.
Ellen, I think that's the best point. And I think, again, circling back to the holidays, what makes it important now is we're here to help you and help your family. So how could embarking on being a little more thoughtful and strategic in your giving in 2024 engage your family and your kids and your grandkids as well? So how do you make this kind of a family endeavor and make sure that you're passing on what's important to you, to your children and grandchildren, and how are you helping them find their voice and their passions? What a gift.
I can tell people right now, go back to our podcasts that are all on the Bold Voices website. Listen to Steve Hudson, who is a community builder and was a board member. Jonathan Allen, a board member, community builder. They talk about how they started with a foundation and then their children got involved, their wife got involved. They started multiple funds targeted at what each one was passionate about. So that's the beauty of your targeting things and having opportunities for everyone to satisfy their passions. And I really would like people to visit the website, cfbroward.org. Now, you said you're going to give us your phone number, so let's hear it.
Sure. It's 954-761-9503, extension 101.
Extension 101, you've got that. And the Nonprofit Center for Excellence, do you go there through the Community Foundation website?
Yes, it's right on the homepage. You just click and it takes you right in.
Okay, and you will be amazed. There's a whole database of nonprofits. You can look for whatever you want, but most importantly, get engaged. And, you know, it's a gift that you're giving yourself as much as you are giving the community.
That's true. But I think the holidays are a seminal moment for us each year. And it's kind of, what do we do with that moment? Do we think of others? Do we think about the future? Do we think about what little ways we can make things better? And we here at the Community Foundation have the privilege of getting to do that every day with our fund holders. And we would love to do it with anyone new as well. So hopefully the holidays will be a seminal moment to empower a whole new generation of donors.
Would love to see it. Go to cfbroward.org. This is a time to give thanks, and you can give thanks to the Community Foundation of Broward for the work they've done. You can be someone who other people give thanks to. And you can also make the season as merry and bright as we always talk about by giving back, and you will find the rewards in your heart. Jennifer O'Flannery Anderson, love what you're doing here, and thank you so much for taking time. I know how busy you are. I so appreciate you sharing with the audience how to be bold.
Oh, well, it's my pleasure. And Ellen, thank you for giving yourself to help us do these Bold Voices series. I love listening to them in the car, and I hope our listeners enjoy them as much as I do. So you've been a gift to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's wrap ourselves up in a bow. Yeah. Okay.
Happy holidays, everybody.
And thank you for listening to Bold Voices. Be sure to visit the website whenever you want. You can listen to former podcasts, and we have new podcasts for you every month. As always, we are going to turn to Kirk Engelhardt for Kirk's Corner. Kirk, as the Vice President of Marketing and Communications for the Community Foundation of Broward, pretty much knows everything that's going on. And I have to say, Kirk, after talking to Jennifer, it has to be so great working with her. Someone who is so passionate about giving and giving back in the community. You got to be inspired going into work every day.
Oh, that's an understatement, Helen. We loved our jobs when we first got them, and then Jennifer came in and we loved them even more.
Yeah.
Jennifer has brought in a new level of energy. She has vision. She knows where she wants this organization to go. But even beyond that, she cares about the community. She cares about the donors. She cares about elevating philanthropy so that this community can help itself down the road.
Right.
And she's just such a passionate leader and a compassionate person to work with and work for.
One of the things that was a real eye-opener for me was understanding that although $25,000 is the starting point to have a fund, you can pledge less than that for several years in a row. So each year you're making a donation and then it becomes your fund when you reach that minimum level. And I was like, well, I can do that.
Exactly. You don't have to walk in the door with a $25,000 check. The thing is, we want people to be philanthropic. We want to develop endowed funds that will be here forever in the names of our donors, that'll help this community for not only the issues that the community deals with today, but the issues we'll be dealing with tomorrow. And we don't even know what those issues are going to be. So it's a huge benefit to have people work with us in that way and to start off sooner rather than later. We'll work with you on a plan that helps you achieve the goals that you want to achieve. And if you're looking for some guidance and you're looking for a way to build a legacy and you want to do it in a way that's going to have huge impact and go on forever, then give us a call.
Jennifer actually gave her very own phone number, so you can literally call Jennifer and talk to her directly. Is there another number, a general line that people should call?
The main line for the foundation is 954-761-9503. And you can always find us on the web at cfbroward.org. All of our information is there. But the point is, reach out. Let's have a conversation and don't wait till the absolute last minute. Start talking to us now.
Now it is. We wish everyone a wonderful, successful, and charitable Happy New Year. Kirk Engelhardt, Vice President of Marketing and Communications for the Community Foundation of Broward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you for listening to Bold Voices. We hope you've enjoyed this episode and hope you'll be inspired to join us in creating a better Broward for all. If you'd like more information, visit us online at cfbroward.org and remember to always be bold.